Ever get that feeling like there's more to you than, what we see on the surface? Well, today we are diving deep into that exact idea, tackling the soul. And we're using the Urantia book as our guide, especially what it says in paper 111.
I don't think this is just us, like dusting off some ancient philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
The Urantia book doesn't just define the soul. It pulls from all over history, psychology, even throws in some cosmology to give this really unique perspective,
Right. It's like they took everything we thought we knew about the soul and remixed it. I mean, look at the ancient Egyptians and their obsession with the laut, the spirit double hanging out with you in the afterlife. They even put it in their hieroglyphics.
And that idea pops up in cultures everywhere, that there's this other self. But the Urantia book takes it a step further. It says we don't just show up with a soul, we have to develop it. They call it the Urantia soul. And that word Urantia, it literally means growth. It's built piece by piece through our experiences.
Okay, so let's break down this whole building metaphor because it's kind of important. They say our experiences and the choices we make, those are the building blocks, right? Then you've got this divine presence, what they call the thought adjuster, acting as the architect. And then the soul itself, that's the structure that gets built.
And it's not just like a pretty design, right?
Yeah.
This structure represents this constant back and forth between our human minds and this divine spark that they say is inside all of us. That's got to be one of the wildest things about the Urantia book, this idea that we are not alone up in our heads.
No kidding. When I first read about this thought adjuster thing, I was like, hold on. There's a piece of the divine just like riding shotgun in my consciousness. Talk about mind-blowing.
It really makes you think, right? And it gets to the core of why the Urantia book's view on the soul is so different. We're talking about a collaboration here, and it results in something that lasts. It's not even just that we have souls, but that our souls are being formed right now by the choices we make, the things we go through, and we're doing it with this divine presence.
So it's less like we're just handed a soul and more like we're co-writing the story of our soul, but we've got this like really, really wise editor giving us notes along the way, which I guess is where this whole education, not probation idea comes in. It's not about passing a test to get into some exclusive club. It's about growing and learning through what we experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they go out of their way to say this growth is not passive. It's happening in those daily decisions, how we react to challenges, even in those quiet moments when we're just reflecting. That's how we're shaping our soul.
So no pressure, right? Every choice, every single thought, it's like adding another detail to this eternal portrait of you. No wonder people have been going back and forth about this book for decades.
And it's not just about us as individuals either. The Urantia book connects this inner growth we're talking about to the creation of a better world. The idea being that when we cultivate our own inner lives, we become kind of like these conduits for positive change around us.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about getting our own souls in order. It's realizing that our internal transformation, it doesn't stop there. It has a ripple effect outwards. Our own personal growth, in a sense, it contributes to this larger tapestry of humanity, right?
That's it. And they really drive that point home by contrasting outward achievements with inner development. There's this quote they use, "Snow crystals are always hexagonal in form, but no two are ever alike. Children conform to types, but no two are exactly alike, even in the case of twins. Personality follows types, but is always unique." What they're saying is what matters most is that inner uniqueness, that individuality.
So it's like they're saying real individuality, real growth, it happens at a much deeper level than just, checking boxes in the material world. But then how do we actually tap into that? How do we develop that inner growth, that connection with the adjuster in a way that's practical, in a way we can use in our lives?
That's where things get really, really interesting.
So how do we tap into that, this inner growth thing, this connection with the adjuster? It's like, are we talking about some next level self-awareness here?
You're right on the money with that one. The whole point of the Urantia book, it's about getting our own will, how we make decisions to line up with the guidance of the adjuster. But it's subtle. They actually use this word consecration, which I know sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, when I hear consecration, I'm picturing stained glass, maybe some Gregorian chants. What's that look like day to day, though?
Okay, so picture this. It's not about saying goodbye to all your wants and dreams or becoming some kind of robot, right? It's about really looking at what motivates you, like what makes you tick. Do those desires match up with what you could be, your best self? It's choosing to grow, even when it's the harder path.
So less about denying who we are as humans and more about, refining it all.
Exactly. And the Urantia book makes it super clear this consecration thing is always a choice. That thought adjuster. It doesn't just hijack our free will. It's more like patiently nudging us, towards choices that fit with our soul's purpose. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
It's kind of like that part in the book, right, where the seraphim is practically begging the human, just please accept the adjuster's help. It's like, hey, we're literally here to help you navigate this whole crazy life thing. Just like open the door a crack.
And the best part, even when we totally mess up, when we let ego or fear take the wheel instead of the adjuster, the book says that divine presence never gives up on us. It's a pretty hopeful message, if you ask me.
Which is good news because, well, full disclosure, my inner compass goes a little wonky sometimes.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole education, not probation thing is so important to remember. We're allowed to make mistakes. It's part of how we learn. They're not these cosmic failures. They're more like opportunities to grow, to get ourselves back on track with what the adjuster's trying to tell us.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better because I was starting to get a little, performance anxiety about this whole soul tapestry situation. But if it's all about learning and growing, then what about that warning they have about pride? That seems like a pretty big roadblock on this journey, right?
It's a big one. The book doesn't mince words either. It calls pride deceitful, intoxicating, and sin-breeding. Basically, pride messes with how we see things, makes it harder to hear what the adjuster's trying to tell us.
So it's not even just about feeling good about what we've done. It's about letting it go to our heads, making us think we're more important than everyone else. And that can happen to anyone or even to a whole society, right? It's not just a personal thing.
100%. A lot of the conflict and suffering we see in the world, the Urantia book, suggests it comes from this kind of group ego where countries or groups think they're better than everyone else, which is, well, kind of a recipe for disaster, if you ask me.
Whoa. Makes you think about that snowflake quote, right? Like, yeah, we're all unique, but some of us are trying to build a fortress out of our snowflake instead of seeing the beauty in the whole snowfall.
Nailed it. What the book is saying is real fulfillment. For ourselves and for everyone, it comes from understanding that we're all connected, part of this shared experience of being human. And then we use our own unique skills, our perspectives, to contribute to something bigger than just us.
So less me against the world and more like me as part of the world, working together with that spark inside us and the sparks in everyone else.
Now you're getting it. And the cool thing is the Urantia book says this way of living, being in tune with the adjuster, it's not some impossible dream. It's something we can work towards in our everyday lives.
It really makes you think about every little choice, right? How we treat other people, how we deal with stress, what we choose to focus on. Are we creating a tapestry of just like ego and being separate? Or are we going for something more about compassion and connection?
And that takes us to a pretty important question that the Urantia book brings up.
So we're put all this work into making this soul tapestry, right? But it's not just about what we're creating on our own. There's this bigger picture, like we're all connected and contributing to something bigger. What does the Urantia book say about that?
Well, it asks this question, and it's really stuck with me. If this life isn't just a test we have to pass, but this huge learning experience, we're doing it with the divine, what kind of pattern are we making with the choices we make every day? Like, what's that design going to look like?
Man, that really hits you, It's not about just getting to the end. It's about what the journey looks like. It's like, what are our intentions? How much love are we putting into it? Like, each little thread of who we are.
Yeah, exactly. And the really amazing thing is, according to the Urantia book, we're not alone in this. We've got this partner to the adjuster right there with us, guiding us, always trying to point us in the direction of our best selves.
It's like having a cosmic GPS, but instead of telling us to turn left in 500 feet, it's more like this quiet voice inside, guiding us towards, I don't know, understanding more, being more compassionate, feeling that connection.
And the more we pay attention to that voice, the more we let the adjuster guide us, the more our soul tapestries, they just come alive, They mean something. It's not just about finding out who we are. It's about creating that with something bigger than us.
So we're always being called to be part of this huge story, this amazing design. And okay, maybe we can't see the whole thing right now, but we can trust that every choice, every time we're kind to someone, every time we learn and grow, it's all part of something amazing, both for us and for the world around us, right?
Yes, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about something the Urantia book talks about a lot. How much we're capable of, the love we have, our creativity, being connected to something bigger. It's all limitless.
Yeah.
And when we tap into that by ourselves and together, we can change things. We become like I don't know, weavers of something new, a world that's more beautiful, more compassionate, one little thread at a time.
And that, my friend, is it for today's deep dive into what the Urantia book has to say about the soul. It's definitely given me a lot to think about, that's for sure. All the choices, the adjuster, always there to guide us, and just, wow, how much we can do with our lives if we set our minds to it. It's pretty incredible.
It's been great exploring all this with you. I hope your own journey is filled with purpose and creativity, and that you feel that connection with the divine both inside and all around you.
Got it. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep creating your own soul tapestries with, intention, with love. We'll
Yeah.
see you all next time.